Okay, so I lengthened my sleeve to as much as I wanted it, which has ended up this much here. So I'll show you on the other sleeve, where I've not put the cuff on yet. So yeah, I decided I wanted this one to be right down to my wrist. So you can see, what have I added? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows in the end, just following the colour sequence. So you can do that and just keep trying it on until it gets to the point on your arm where you're wanting it to finish. And then you can either do, like we did with the crop jacket, we can just do an ordinary edging on that. Or for this video, I'm going to do this cuff finish here. So this is the front post and back post stitches. So they're not obviously a beginner stitch. So if you do want to just finish your sleeve without any edging, that's fine. If that's enough for you, it's still going to look nice, and it's depending how wide you made your sleeve, it'd be a nice wide-ended sleeve. Or if you want to carry on following the tutorial and see how I've done this cuff and have a little go, it's not too challenging, the front post and back post stitches. It's only treble works in a slightly different way, or double crochet if you're using American terms. So we'll get started. So what I've done first, I've worked half double crochets into these this last row of the granny stitch here. And what I've done, I've decreased in each one. So that, again, that's another thing that isn't particularly beginner level, but you're welcome to give it a go. So I'm going to start on the other sleeve now. So again, I always start on the underarm, just because when you're wearing it, that's the side that's less visible, just in case the sort of seams are looking a bit messy, but they are looking quite neat so far. Right, so I'm going to join my yarn on with a slip knot this time, because I'm not going to be doing a cluster of granny stitch, so I won't be able to sort of disguise and trap in that tail. So I'm going to bring it through. So that's where I've finished my last row. So I'm just going to start my new colour there. So we're going to tighten it slightly, and then I am going to do a stacked single crochet to start. Okay, and then I'm going to start my half treble or half double crochet, depending whether you're English or American terms. So we use American terms, half double crochet into the next two stitches, but I'm going to decrease. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch as you normally would, yarn over, pull through. But at this point, don't yarn over and pull through the stitch. We're going to yarn over again and go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. And then you'll have 5 loops on your hook. Then you can yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. So you can see we've created one stitch that's joined together 2 of the stitches on the previous row. I'm going to do that again. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, and then pull through all the stitches. So that's how we only had 4 stitches on the hook, because we didn't have the stacked single crochet. In, yarn over, in, yarn over, pull through all 4. So I'm going to carry on all the way around, and what this will do is decrease the number of stitches on that edge by half. And it's up to you, you just keep trying it on like you have been doing. If this pulls it in too much for you, you could maybe go back and then do a half treble stitch in one, and then a decrease over the next 2, and 1 and 2. Don't worry if it doesn't work out exact. We're just trying to decrease overall. It's not, I've not worked it out mathematically because I don't know how wide your sleeve's going to be. So all we need to do is decrease as evenly as possible. But whenever we get back to here, if it's a decrease or if it's an ordinary stitch, that's fine. We'll just come right the way back to the last stitch. So if you did want to put less decrease in, you can just do yarn over into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And that is your half treble or your half double crochet. And then you would then yarn over, pull through, insert, yarn over, pull through, and go through all 4 to make a decrease in the next 2 stitches. But like I say, I was happy with the nice tight cuff that I had on the other side, so I'm going to carry on decreasing across every 2 stitches. So once I've done that, I'm going to obviously arrive back at that first stitch, so I'll meet you back there. Okay, so I'm back at the last stitch, and I've only got 1 stitch left, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to work my decrease into that last stitch. So I've gone into there, I'm going to leave those 3 loops on there. I'm going to go into the top of the stacked single crochet, and I'm going to finish that last half double crochet into there. Okay, so that's that row done. So what we need to do now is just work 1 half double crochet into each stitch if you're happy with that width there. I might just decrease slightly more, so I'm going to decrease on every 5th half double crochet this time. So I'll show you my way of doing it. If you're happy with that width now, you've tried it on your wrist and you're happy for the cuff to be that wide, you can carry on. Or if you do want it to just be a little bit tighter, you can do what I'm going to do next. Okay, so this time I'm just going to chain 1 before moving to that first stitch there. So this is the stacked single crochet. You don't need to work into there, we work into this next one. Yarn over, and I'm going to do 5 half doubles until, 4 half doubles and decrease across the 5th and 6th. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And on that 5th one, I'm going to yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, keep the loops on the hook, yarn in, go in, yarn over, 4 loops on hook, pull through all 4. So that's just going to narrow my cuff again a little bit more, because when I'm wearing a long sleeved cardigan, I quite like to be able to push the cuffs back, not sort of have them dangling around over my hands. Okay, and then we're going to do another 4 half doubles, 3, 4, and decrease again. It's twisting now, so it's a little tricky working around the sleeve. Just keep turning the whole cardigan. Okay, another 4 half double, 4, and decrease. Nearly around now. And as I say, if it's not an even number, it doesn't matter. We just want to reduce or decrease the width of the cuff, and all our sleeves will be different because we've tailor-made this. So we can throw the rule book out of the window, all the maths. I'm always more than happy to throw maths out of the window and just go for it. As long as you do both cuffs the same, but obviously you can make a note of what you're doing on this side and ready to do on the other. Okay, so that's where we've decreased. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's, luck would have it that I do have 2 stitches left. But I did not plan that whatsoever. Okay, so we finished on a decrease, and you're just going to, we chained 1 because we don't now need that height, because we're going to just slip stitch into that first half double. Right, so that's fairly straightforward now. And what you might find is you actually quite like that as an edging, in which case you don't need to challenge yourself any further. You've managed to draw in the sleeve, and if you're happy with how that looks, you might just want to stop there. Or if you want to see how to do the front and back post stitches, we can do that now. Okie doke. So this will look slightly different depending whether you've got an even or odd number of stitches. So yeah, if you are a seasoned crocheter watching this video, you'll be shaking your head because I really am throwing the rule book out the window. But I do just want it to be nice and easy. We don't need to follow a pattern. If you want to make this cardigan over and over again and make it to fit lots of different people, you don't need to get hung up on trying to work out, you know, all the maths of it. You can just wing it basically, which is what we're doing, winging it. Right, so we're going to carry on in half treble. So I'm just going to chain 1 again. But this time, and this is the new thing, we're going to work around the stem of the stitch. So whereas we worked before into these V's at the top by pushing our hook in that gap there, and you can see the V over the top, we're going to ignore that completely. And we're going to go in through the side of the stitch around the back and out through the other side, and then we'll do it the other way around for the next one. And that's what creates the rib effect that I've shown you on the other sleeve. So we're going to yarn over, go in through the right hand side of the stitch and out through the left. So you've got the stem, the vertical part of the stitch, across your hook. Yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. So at the minute, you can't really see the effect of that, what should we call it, embossed effect. But once you get a full round in, you will start to notice. And on subsequent rows, we will work round the stem that's already sitting forward. So that makes it even more effective, the rib. So that was where we went from front to back and back out to the front. This time, which is probably a little bit trickier, we're going to go from the back. So we're going to yarn over, bring your hook round the back, and then come in front of the stem this time, and back out of the back on the other side. Yarn over and pull through, making sure you don't get stuck here, going through to the back again. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So you've created one sitting to the front, one sitting to the back. And we just need to keep alternating now. So we can yarn over, go round the back, yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, go around the front of the stitch. Okay, so front post and back post. So post in this instance is the stem of the stitch. This is what we call the post. Okay, so we've just gone around the back. So we want to go, sorry, we just go around the front. So we just want to go around the back of the stitch now. And then we want to go round the front again. Slightly confusing because you put your hook round the back to go around the front, you put your hook round the front to go around the back. But if you try and just visualize it as going around this stem, you know that that is going around the back of it, and that is going around the front of it. Okay, so yarn over. Where were we up to? Right, we're on to one where we're going around the back. Through all 3 and yarn over, we can go round the front. So keep doing that until you get back round. You can do this same stitch with double crochet or treble. It just leaves a bigger gap in between. And for this cuff, I want it to be quite a compact rib. But yeah, it can look nice with a double crochet as well, depending what project you're working on. If you're working in a thinner yarn, maybe. So I'll meet you back at the beginning. Right, so I'm just approaching my last 2 stitches. Yarn over, go around the back. And then my last one is there, right next to that starting chain. So slightly more snug stitch to get around. Oops. Just a little bit tighter to get into that space. Okay. Right, so that was my last one. So when you come back, it might be a bit confusing, but you can just see that's where the chain one was on the first row, and that was the first treble. But because it's going around the stem of the stitch below, it's sitting a lot lower. So it almost looks as if you've no stitch to work into. But if you pull up on that first front post half double crochet, you can now slip stitch in to the V's at the top. Okay, so we've slip stitched into there, and then we're going to do a chain one. But we're also going to work around the stem of this stitch. So we're kind of working 2 stitches into this one by going into the top of it and around it. Okay, so yarn over, go around the back of the stem that we already made that's sitting forward on that lower row. We don't want to go around the front of this one because we'd push it back, and we're trying to get the V's to all the rib to all sit the same way, because obviously it won't be a rib if one's going in, one's going out that way. That is another technique that does look good, and it's you can make a basket weave by doing that. But for now, we want to go round the back of all the ones that are sitting forward and round the front of all the ones that are sitting at the back. So we do the same thing as we did on the last row in the same order. Okay, so we're on that one. And what you probably find now is these are a little bit easier to work around because they're already sitting forward away from the rest of the work. So this front post, back post stitch actually becomes nicer to do because it's so much easier to get your hook where it needs to be. And also it's hard to get lost because you can see the stem of the stitch sitting forward before you come to work around it. So I like it for that reason. Quite often you don't end up gaining or losing stitches because you can clearly see where to work. But still, the ones that sit towards the back are always going to be a little bit more challenging than the ones that are sitting nicely and you can get your hook behind, because you're having to go behind the work, which is it's different to what we've done up to now. Okay, she says, go in the wrong hole. So this side of the stitch. So it's always the right hand side of the stem, be it from the back or from the front, that you're working around, and then coming out of the left. Okay, yarn over, around the back. Yarn over, around the front, but we go through the back. Just twisting the sleeve again. And then around the front. So if you look back at your work now, you'll see that rib starting to appear. And the more we work it, the more rows we work, the more it'll pull in. I mean, there'll be a limit. It's not going to pull right in until you can't get your arm through it. But it's the effect of the elastic, the sort of elastic effect that we're creating is more pronounced once you get a bit of a longer cuff. So I'll show you just how to finish this row because it was slightly different to the one before, going around the post that you made from the last row. Hopefully you're finding it easier than just working around a flat row of half double crochets now that these stitches are already sitting forward and back off the work. And then it's up to you how many rows you want to do. You might want a really exaggerated cuff, but bear in mind the length that you've already got. So don't make it too long if you don't want it to be coming right down over your hands. So again, just do a few rows, try it on. And all you need to do to finish the last row, there's no fancy edging. you're just going to do what I'm about to do now. So I've come all the way around. Just make sure you've worked around all your front post, back post stitches. This one here will just be your chain 1, so you can disregard that. And then slip stitch in through the top of the first half double crochet, and then make your chain 1 and start again. So your first one's here. So your first one is always going to be facing the front, and your last one is always going to be on the back. Okay, so you can carry on and do as many rows as you like. I'm not actually sure how many rows I've done here. Let's count. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 rows was enough for me. But obviously it's entirely up to you. So finish your cuff and then we'll work on our neck edging.